Could the Broncos hit a little bait and switch and go in an entirely different direction in the first round of the draft? This is your Denver Sports Daily for April 23rd.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
Running back. That's all the talk of the offseason. But would it behoove the Broncos to take a different position with the 20th pick? Now, ESPN's Matt Miller came out yesterday and brought a name up that hasn't been brought up recently, and it's been somewhat forgotten by Broncos country in the past couple of months. Now, I mentioned this name a couple months ago. I was talking with other people over here on the Fan. Jake Shapiro, I know, is a fan of this guy earlier in the draft process, and that guy's name is Luther Burton, the wide receiver out of Missouri. Now, apparently, the Broncos did a ton of work on Burton, and it would be an interesting pivot to make. Now, Burton is no doubt a future wide receiver one, but it would be a strange decision. Overall, the Broncos have done so much talk and so much work on a running back. And honestly, I smell like there's a fire burning right now because all this is to me is a smokescreen. Now, if it were to be real, if Luther Burton were to be the real pick that the Broncos have actually been looking at, I wouldn't hate it. I don't necessarily love it, but I wouldn't hate it. I love Luther Burton. I think he's a great player. He's one of those guys who's bound to be a wide receiver one in this league. But do the Broncos need another wide receiver? I mean, honestly, they've got what they need already. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, those are solid names. You don't need to go out there and get a guy like Luther Burton, even though he will be great. When I watch this guy, he could be up there with the Jamar Chases and the, Justin Jeffersons in the next 5 years. He could be. But is that worth the risk when you need a running back right now? And not only a running back, there are other larger gaps that the Broncos need to fill. And that's just a small section of the entire book surrounding the drama with this draft. We're not even mentioning that the Broncos may trade up in the draft. They may trade up and try to get Ashton Jeanty. They might trade down out of the first round. So something like this, again, probably just a smokescreen. But, you got to look at these things and say, the Broncos have done a ton of work. Sure. But that's just them doing their due diligence. They want to see if they're really getting the best player at the 20th pick rather than taking what they need in a running back. Omarion Hampton's still the guy. Don't get it twisted. Omarion Hampton is still the one that if the Broncos decide to go in any other direction, I'll be shocked. I will. If they trade up and get Ashton Jeanty, that's a different story. I'll talk about that all day because that would be a whole bad decision in and of itself. But getting Omarion Hampton with that 20th pick, that should be where everybody's mind is at. That should be what Broncos country's excited for. Start getting your jerseys with Hampton on the back because this guy should be the one that the Broncos are looking at. And if they did go out and then shock everybody by taking Luther Burton, I wouldn't hate it, but you got bigger holes to fill. You don't need another wide receiver in this room right now. And if you did want a wide receiver, why didn't you get one in free agency? There were free agent wide receivers available and they didn't go and get one. They missed their chance. Don't go out there with the 20th pick when you have huge holes to fill that need to be filled by the draft and take another wide receiver. You just don't need it. Now, moving on, it's an Avalanche game day, and this could be one of the most special Avalanche games of all time, and that's because we could finally see the long-awaited return of Gabe Landeskog. Now, on Monday, Landeskog was lifted from IR but didn't suit up for the game, and this is likely just to get him some practice on the ice, let him know what it feels like to be in an NHL arena once again, getting ready for a game, practicing with the team, getting your shots in. That's all a great way to get him, feel the game again, feel it. And he did. And then they sat him for the game. And I think that was honestly a decision made, hey, let's just get you a little bit of practice. But honestly, I feel like that decision was made more for, let's just get these fans a little bit what they want to get them real ready for when we're back in Ball Arena. Now, tonight, they are coming back to Ball Arena, and it would be a perfect opportunity for him to take the ice again, as the Avs are again back at home for Game 3 of this series. Now, the Avs are coming into this game off the back of their unfortunate overtime loss in Game 2 on Monday, which was just so unfortunate. That's the only word you can use. They had a chance to win it. They had several chances to win it. You go 18 minutes in overtime, you should be able to win, especially with how well this Avalanche offense played on Saturday, and they didn't get it done. Now, but they are heading into tonight's game as 1-point favorites, and puck drop is at 7:30 p.m. I cannot wait to see Gabe Landeskog back on the ice. I really hope that this is a time This is actually it. I've said it all season. I don't think he's going to come back ever. And now it's finally here. He's got the chance to come back, play at home, first round of the playoffs, get him back on the ice. It's going to do so many great things for the mentality of this team to have your captain back on the ice with you, even if he's not on the ice, even if he's just sitting with the team. That kind of stuff lifts morale, all from the coaches to the players to the fans. That's the kind of thing that affects winning. It's very, very exciting to see this finally happening. Now, moving on, could we see an all-time fan favorite Nugget return to Denver this offseason? A very special person was in the building for the Nuggets' 105-102 loss against the Clippers on Monday, and that person was none other than Bruce Brown. If you remember the championship run back in 2023, then surely you remember how important Bruce Brown was to the Nuggets bench and the overall success of the team. Brown made sure when he came out, he was dressed in his typical Western wear, looking like a Coloradan. And he also made sure to tweet, "I miss playoff basketball," while he was at the game. Is there a clearer sign than that? This guy loves Denver. He wants to be here. And he was asked if he'd like to return to Denver in the offseason as a free agent. And he responded saying, "I'm a free agent. So if that opportunity presents itself, I'll look over it. But you never know. I miss playing here." That's what Bruce Brown had to say. "I miss playing here." Again, he did say, you never know. He's a free agent. Things can happen. But it would make so much sense to bring him back. Brown averaged a career-high 11.5 points during his one-year stint with Colorado, and he was crucial during the finals run, averaging 12 points per game in the playoffs. Now, Brown might be the piece that's been missing. He might be. This team has had something holding them back, and it might be the loss of Bruce Brown after that championship run. And that's what's held them back from returning to the mountaintop. And if you were to return, it would bring such a large jolt of energy back into this fan base. Everybody here loved Bruce Brown. He was a key piece to this team during that championship run. He was the catalyst. He was the X factor. He was the guy coming off the bench, making plays, winning the game. If you remember, he finished the game in Game 5 against the Miami Heat in the finals. That's what he was the last person on the court there. That this team needed him. He brought such a good energy, and sure, you can make that kind of case for KCP and Reggie Jackson, but Bruce Brown had that kind of, dog in him that just flipped this team from a contender team to a championship winning team. There's a difference there. A contender and a championship winning team are two different things. Even if they don't win a championship, the Nuggets right now are not a championship winning team. Even if they go to the finals, they're not a championship winning team because they don't have that kind of energy around them. That's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I do want to read some of your comments. Let's see. Smoke screen. Yep. That's what I was saying. It's got to be a smoke screen. You're thinking running back. And the day before the draft, it switches to, they might get a wide receiver. No, not a chance. Not a chance. Smoke and mirrors. Yep. We are getting Ashton Genty, period. Hey, I wouldn't hate it, but if you're going to trade up to top 5, there are other players that I would rather the Broncos get than Ashton Genty, honestly. And if they're already going to get in the top 5, what's 2 more? Get into the top 3 and get Travis Hunter. So that's that. Again, is Ashton Genty is giving away all this draft capital for a running back really that good of a decision? I don't think so. Let's see. Ashton Genty, Dream Weaver. Yep, not happening. We are not drafting Hampton at 20. Whew. I'd like to know who you think we draft. But hey, I'd like to see where your mind's at there, because I think Omari Hampton at the 20th pick is the best possible option. That would make the most sense for the Broncos. I mean, they need a running back. They have the 20th pick. That's around where Hampton is projected to go, in between 20 and the end of the first round. You got to go out and get him. That's where my head's at on that. More rumors are that the Broncos have placed calls to Carolina to trade up. Yeah, there's rumors all around. And it's that time of year, and not even that time of year, that time of week in the draft week where all these different, outlets are going to start saying stuff. And some of them could be true. And they probably have placed calls to Carolina. But if they trade up, I would be so disappointed. We just dug ourselves out of this hole, getting back all of this draft capital. And now we're going to give it up on a running back who may not be successful. And I do think Ashton Genty will be successful, but come on, do we really need to give up more draft capital We can get a running back at any time in the draft. This is a deep draft class. There's no need to trade up just to get the best when you could have the second best. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I know that may be a bad point of view, but that just doesn't make sense to me. Now, that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. You'll be back with you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow is draft day, like the movie Kevin Costner. We are going to draft day. We're going to be out there at Sportsbook DTC, Denver Sports. Everybody, we're having a whole draft party. It's going to be huge. So if you have a chance, please stop by. We'd love to see all you guys. But until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.